Southern Cameroonians. It's been a long, long time. We have been marginalized. American government, why can't you stop these killings? We see the French government promoting the genocide. You visualize the killing our people. Pretty well, are you? From Libya to Gaza, you're killing our people.
Fellow Southern Cameroonians, fellow comrades in the struggle for the liberation of the Republic of Ambazonia, brothers and sisters, my name is Fru Nkimbeng. I want to thank you for your precious time watching and listening to my YouTube videos. I want to thank thousands of my subscribers all over the world who follow, encourage, and advise me. I try to present our struggle without blaming and claiming that my opinions are best. I humble myself and apologize when I'm wrong, and I'm open to learn and grow to serve Ambazonia better. Thank you for always reminding me to be positive and to focus on the struggle, not individuals. My job is to collect stories, facts, pictures, and present to you to draw your own conclusions. The struggle for the liberation of Ambazonia is our fight as a people to live or not to live. It is a fight far beyond one individual and must not be about an individual, but about our survival as a people. We know better not to play the enemy's game of years of divide and conquer. We are proud people of Southern Cameroon, soon to be the Republic of Ambazonia, not the Northwest and Southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. We are sisters and brothers in the struggle for the liberation for Ambazonia to live or to die. Permit me to bore you with my life and tell you why I do what I do for our struggle. I come from a very humble beginning in Mancon and very proud that Mancon raised me when I became an orphan at 8 years old. Yes, it takes a village to raise an orphan, and I thank God for Mancon. I tell you my story not to evoke your sympathy, but to demonstrate that as Southern Cameroonians, West Cameroonians, we have a very high propensity of tolerance, endurance, patience, and perseverance. As a young boy growing up in Mancon, I will never forget the brutal images of Calais and laissez-passer on the streets of Bamenda. I saw my parents and dignitaries, respected people in the community, forced in the Bamenda Stadium and treated like herds of cattle. I am reminded of the motto of the SCNC, the force of argument and not the argument of force. That calls on civilized people to debate and resolve dispute peacefully. I also grew up in Jombe in the East Cameroon during the last days of the Maquisard and saw the gruesome murders, beheadings, indiscriminate property destruction, and burning of villages which are reminiscent of what is currently happening in Ambazonia today. Thanks to technology, the years-to-years crimes of the La République du Cameroun on Ambazonia are transmitted live around the world as they are being committed. I have listened with horror stories of southern Cameroons and Ambazonians whom La République du Cameroun has humiliated and destroyed. I know every southern Cameroonian has a story to tell, not so good about La République du Cameroun. My big brother of blessed memory was the sole highest southern Cameroonian manager of Semencam in Douala, Cameroon, the only cement manufacturing company in Cameroon at the time. A graduate from the University of Lowell, Massachusetts, in chemical engineering in the 80s, he returned to Cameroon to build his homeland. Like many southern Cameroonians, he was considered one of the so-called l'ennemi dans la maison, the enemy in the house. You can also imagine what he went through from your own personal experience as a southern Cameroonian working in the Republic of Cameroon, then and now. My brother, a very accomplished chemical engineer trained in America, he trained a young unschooled Betty subordinate who made critical decisions to run the factory. My brother will always step in to fix the mess. He will regularly travel to the factory in the north of Cameroon when there was a problem to fix whatever mess they created. I recall his frustration in a conversation I had with him when he was in Garoua years ago. He said his subordinates were clueless, but were very arrogant as to what was going on. But he was always there to do the job. He spent 1 month in Garoua and fixed the problem. On his return to his office in Douala, he was the Betty subordinate he trained, had changed the locks of his office and became the manager of the cement industry in Douala. And you really think that we can coexist with French Cameroon? This is just one story of 8 million southern Cameroonians. We have to fight to live or not to live. So, fellow brothers and sisters, I call on all southern Cameroonians in the diaspora to unite and fight the enemy. The enemy comes to us in many shapes. they will use us against us. Currently at home, they are insisting that schools must return so that they can show the whole world that the struggle, that they have finished their work and killed the struggle. We don't have to allow that to happen. At some point, another idea could be that as they are driving our brothers and sisters into the forest and becoming refugees, we as Southern Cameroonians throughout Ambazonia should also insist that their children who are schooling in our schools should go back, because those who are attending our colleges, the English colleges in Luot, Sacred Heart, most of them are Francophones that are using our money, and they are killing us. We should be thinking about that. See that if you want to send your children to come and study English so that they will subjugate us in the future, we are also ready to send your children back to French Cameroon to go and study French. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much for subscribing to my video. I would be very, very encouraged if you can send comments to let me know how I am doing, and also to subscribe when you watch this video and you really like it. Please press the subscription button and subscribe. Long live Ambazonia, short live the struggle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We will overcome.
Amazonian people, this is our moment. Amazonian people, we need to stand up for our freedom. No more killings, our people are dying. No more torture, our children are dying. Amazonian people, this is our moment. Amazonian people, we need to stand up for our freedom. Southern Cameroonians, we need to stand up and fight for our freedom. We are truly moving forward. We will never, never look back. Southern Cameroonians, we need to stand up and fight for our freedom. We are truly moving forward. Never, never look back. In Africa, African Union is so silent. You're watching all the beatings and the killings of the Southern Cameroonians. It's been a long, long time. We have been marginalized. American government, why can't you stop these killings? We see the French government promoting the genocide. They specialize in killing our people. It's pretty well right. Baby, I like to measure. You're killing our people. Amazonian people, stand up for your freedom. Amazonian people, this is our moment.
You're listening to Daybreak Africa on the Voice of America. I'm James Botti in Washington. Today is Thursday, August 15th. Daybreak Africa time, 17 minutes past the hour. The spokesman for Cameroon's self-proclaimed Ambazonia separatist is calling on what he calls French Cameroon to free his 80-year-old mother, Mama Grace Mafuantem, who he said was abducted 2 weeks ago along with her daughter. VOA was unable to reach Cameroon authorities for comment. Chris Anu says Cameroon authorities denied family lawyers permission to see his mother, who he said is being held at the notorious State Secretariat for Defense. He says his mother is diabetic and hypotensive. Anu, who says his younger brother is a commander in the separatist movement, says it will be wishful thinking if Cameroon authorities think that they can hold his mother to force the separatists to end their struggle.
As we speak, my mother and my sister are still being held incommunicado in a gendarmerie facility they call SED in Yaoundé. They were picked up. It's going to 2 weeks now. And lawyers have done everything to have access to them, but colonial authorities in Yaoundé have refused having any lawyer to have access to them. Right now, my mother has not been seen, and she's diabetic. She's also hypertensive. She was only 3 days from hospitalization when they were picked up. And we learned in there they are being tortured. We are talking about a woman of 80 years old.
When you say the gendarmes have denied permission, have they admitted that they abducted or taken your mother?
They admitted taking them. The lawyers visited them the following day that they were picked up. The gendarmes asked them that only a court can give them permission to see my mother and my sister. Being that it was a weekend, the lawyers went back. Last Monday, they were in court to get that piece of document from the court. They got it, went back to that detention facility, and again, they were not allowed to see my mother. And as we speak, Thursday will make it exactly 2 weeks that they were picked up and nobody has seen them.
Chris, you are spokesperson for the Ambazonian, and as far as I know, you must have said that you have a brother who's a commander of the separatists. So, I mean, if it's true now that the government soldiers took your mother, can you understand from a war perspective why they would take her?
No, I can't understand because I don't understand how to pick up an 80-year-old mother for the sins of his children. It doesn't happen that way. In normal life, children pay for the sins of their parents, not parents paying for the sins of their children. And so it is unthinkable that they would pick up an 80-year-old mother because of the children's involvement in the struggle for the independence of their own country. We have made it very clear we are not going to negotiate with La République du Cameroon. They already have over 5,000 Ambazonians in their dungeons in Yaoundé, Douala, and all other places, Boya. And I've made it very clear, my mother, my sister, they're not any different from these other Ambazonians. If they think that they are holding them so we can give up or surrender, or Kimasha can surrender, well, they have picked the wrong people. It is not going to happen. The only thing that will satisfy us is a free and independent Southern Cameroon.
So is it fair to say that you are willing to sacrifice your mother for the independence of Ambazonia?
I am not willing to sacrifice my mother. Nobody wants to do that. The point I am making is that they have no legal standing to even have her in their custody. And because it is illegal what they are doing, let them correct their illegality by freeing them unconditionally.
The Cameroon government can also say that the Ambazonians have also done the same thing, targeted innocent civilians.
No, the Ambazonians haven't targeted innocent civilians. Ambazonians do not have jails where they keep innocent civilians. Ambazonians do not have mass graves where they bury innocent civilians. Ambazonians do not have troops on the streets of French Cameroon where they randomly shoot to kill innocent civilians. We do not. They are the state. We are freedom fighters.
Chris, thank you very much again. We are always very happy to speak with you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Chris Anu is Secretary of State for Communication of the self-proclaimed Ambazonia Separatist Movement of Cameroon. He was speaking with me from the U.S. city of Houston in Texas.
Amazonian people, we need to stand up for our freedom. No more killings, our people are dying. No more torture, our children are dying. Amazonian people, this is our moment. Amazonian people, we need to stand up for our freedom. Southern Cameroonians, we need to stand up and fight for our freedom. We are truly moving forward. We will never, never look back. Southern Cameroonians, we need to stand up and fight for our freedom. We are truly moving forward. Never, never look back. In Africa, African Union is so silent. You're watching all the beatings and the killings of the Southern Cameroonians. It's been a long, long time. We have been marginalized. American government, why can't you stop these killings? We see the French government promoting the genocide. You specialize in killing our people. Pretty well are you? From Fabian to Mesa, you're killing our people. Amazonian people, stand up for your freedom. Amazonian people, this is our moment. Amazonian people, we need to stand up for our freedom. No more killings, our people are dying. No more torture, our children are dying. Amazonian people, this is our moment. Amazonian people, we need to stand up for our freedom. Together we can build a better nation. Amazonia. Together we can build a better nation, free from killings. Together we can build a better nation, Amazonia. Together we can build a better nation, free from corruption. People are not presidents, people are young now. People are all the business and countries of Amazonia. Oh Lord of mercy.